Hello, I'm Bret, and welcome back to Show Me the Mods Week. This week, we looked at your delightfully cursed creations, so make sure to like this video. And now, in no particular order, I give you the final cursed, janky mods. Show me the mods. Mirage, Perses with a 260 round capacity. Courtesy of Pringles, the hopper is secured to the blaster using packing tape, and there are magnets taped on to hold the lid closed. Had already bought a 3D printer, but it was not fully assembled yet, and I was too impatient to wait for that to be done. Built in 2021. Is this not sponsored by Pringles? What are we even doing if we can't get a chip company to sponsor our cursed creations? I'll reach out to them for you. Hopper-fed blasters are just perfect for these kinds of mods. You saw so many of them online when the Prometheus was out, when the Nemesis was out. People got very creative with what they were able to put on top of a blaster and make into a hopper. They started to find out just how far you could go with that, but a Pringles can. Well, we'll do the trick. And you even went the next step and you put magnets in there. You weren't just being cheap. You were being cheap with a purpose. And honestly, I respect that. And if any little remnants of like Pringles dust or little chips got into the blaster, hey, I'm sure that kept it nice and lubricated, or nice and oily. I'm glad you hopefully kept it like this. Or you got a new hopper and replaced it. That's fine too. General Stryfe. This collection of integrations are all work in progress, all the way from a Rapid Strike Vortex Tornado, all the way to a Recon with a cassette player built in. These are all unique in their own ways. None are internally modded. Just bodywork has been done. General Stryfe, you gotta choose one. You can't just give me the whole family and then say, yeah, but none of them are done. I need just one to look at. I mean, there's clearly some really cool stuff going on here, as you mentioned. Rapid Strike Vortex Tornado looks very intriguing. And, I mean, every one of these looks intriguing in its own right. But they're all work in progress, so I guess the real jankiness was the missing internals we lost along the way. Keep up the good work, and I would be very curious to see how some of these turn out, whether you take them to a little bit more polished or you leave them in their more janky form. From Sam, or samsambelfast, this is a Batman Grapple Blaster from Mattel that I attempted to upgrade this spring, but didn't work, so I was able to get some elastic from a cheap bow blaster, and it fires good now. Sorry about your spring upgrade failure, but that is the great thing about pullback style plunger rods. Rubber bands and other elastic cords exist, and they will save your life. Not only a mod, but in this case, it will make it still function. So it can also be quiet that way too. And you know, to be honest, I'm sure some people won't even notice because it kind of matches the color scheme. From David, planned 2 X-Shot MPPs in a horizontal configuration held together by a bracket. Shove it into a gutted Nerf Rhinofire, but keep the system that actuates the barrels. Either reorient the gearboxes so that they're in line and rewire so that you can use the Rhinofire paddle trigger, or just cut holes out for the grips for the MPPs. I see the vision. I see you have a concept of a mod. I can imagine a really polished version of this integration with additional wiring, a nice paint job, but I can also see a really quick slap together with some tape and a minimal additional work, and you got a truly janky piston pump Rhinofire right there. You could also just take the front of the Rhinofire barrels and put them on the MPPs after you've taped them together. Whatever you do, I'm intrigued. Looks like a fun project. Spino Dino, the accidental mod of a double strike. I wanted to see if I could get rid of a smart AR of a double strike, but could accidentally put the plungers in upside down and can now shoot from both barrels with bad darts. That moment you realize smart ARs shouldn't always be removed. I did this with one of my original double strikes. I remember you could easily remove the entire assembly for 2-shot action, so long as, like you mentioned, bad darts or very similar fitting darts were used. Not much power, but pretty fun. At least until the hammer broke. And I see you're missing the little piece to attach sights up top on the rail. It's pretty janky. You're gonna have to fix that hole. Glowytheglowbug turned a breacher into a single-shot sniper. It's easily reversible, and there's the link to it. All right, that's pretty cool, and not surprising, someone did it. Longer barrel also makes that extended tube look a little bit more natural. Got a question though, do you You have enough shell holders? I'm worried you don't have enough on this blaster. What if you run out of shells on the blaster? What are you gonna do? From Waffle, photo isn't mine, but broke my X-Shot Meteor mag once, so I took out the breech, epoxied a CPVC coupler to the plunger tube, and made it a single shot. Looked basically stock except for the tiny bit of CPVC pipe poking out the front. Sadly, couldn't rear load as the pipe was too short to twist off without disassembly, and I couldn't fit speed loaders in the OEM barrel, but I considered minimizing the shell and had some initial success testing brass inline clips. Good salvage technique, single shot, is always a solution. I do wish you had an actual photo of the blaster instead, but I'll just have to imagine this one with a small piece of CPVC poking out the front. And then also from Waffle, I was young and had a Zombie Strike Crossfire. I had no idea you could even swap springs at this point, but had a lot of rubber bands from my other habit of making crossbows that fired corks and bamboo skewers. IDK how young me cocked it with all those bands on there, but it probably increased range by 30% or so. Enclosed as a recreation that took more effort than the entire build. I believe it, and I do appreciate that legend. I would have had no idea what was going on with these wild colors. Once again, rubber bands are here to save the day, or at least make your day 30% more powerful. Thank you for sharing the Jankomatic M420. And last but certainly not least, I'm not gonna say it's my favorite, but I did want to end with something special, and this one, as soon as I saw it, I knew it was special. From Boyd, I made it while awake for 32 hours straight after a 6-day long shift. I named it the Soldier Boy as it reminded me of jerry-rigged equipment actual soldiers use. And it is operated by manually pushing the dart using the pencil. It runs on 3S LiPo, and the flywheel cage came from a Ryan's World Eradicator, stock motors and wheels. Insane. Just insane. Built from the ground up, you almost think there's a real shell there. Nope, you've got one side of cardboard. You've got a flywheel cage from a Ryan's World Blaster. Not a common choice. That's a deep cut. Why did you have a Ryan's World Blaster? I mean, I've had one before too, but let's not address that. You got the 3S LiPo powering this whole thing. Not sure where the battery is in this photo, but we've got wires aplenty. I can see those all over the place. I assume, therefore, it is quite loud, because there's nothing capturing or hiding all that noise. You've got the number 2 pencil pusher that you manually push darts into the flywheels. Oh, that's very unique. I haven't seen anyone do that before. And then everything from the pencil pusher holder to the magazine to most likely the flywheel cage up front is taped to the cardboard shell. We got blue masking tape, another type of tape there too. Internal magazine now, by the way. You can't remove that magazine anymore. It was what it's intended to be. So I guess you just gotta make sure the pencil is pushed back and then you can reload darts from there. And to be fair, you could probably make this work with half darts as it is as well, because you decide how far the pusher goes. Honestly, this is next level engineering. And it's just cursed in all the best ways. What's not to love? I think I cried the first time I saw this. Tears of absolute joy. And with that, I have shown you all of the mods that you have sent me. Thank you so much for submitting these. I had an absolute blast looking through them. I tried not to look through all of them in too much detail before making the videos. I wanted to experience them as much as I could for the first time while having a little bit of familiarity with what I was going to look at. You guys sent some amazing things, and I know there are some more fun creations out there. Cursed, janky, fun creations out there, to be specific. So if you want to see more of these in the future, if you guys are interested in submitting more for future videos, let me know. I would love to do this again. I think having all these kind of grouped into one video or even a few is really fun to put together. And yes, looking through them just gives me an absolute sense of joy. Whether that's just because some of these are just so terrible and they're so funny, to also just giving some inspiration, because I literally looked through some of these and thought, whoa, there are some really cool ideas here. And for some people, I think you're gonna see some of these and really get inspired to maybe make some different kinds of mods going forward. Or not. Or you just looked at these and thought, yikes, I hope that person doesn't burn themselves or cut their hand the next time they use that blaster. And hey, that's fine too. We all start somewhere, and some of us never grow out of that. I would not be speaking from experience. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to everyone who submitted. Once again, my name is Bret. Sometimes I wear a beret, and I have shown you all the mods. Take care.